is that?
Welcome to The Invasion, Session 18, finally. Slight delays based on... let's just blame Thea, right? Let's just all agree to blame Thea for the delays.
B.
This is when I had a mild panic and thought, did I delete the wrong Callum from the credit screen? Because I was like, oh god.
All this time of me enforcing I was Callum M.
Yep, all this time. Yes, so it is the 26th of August 2020. I am Ryan, the GM, and here are the players.
Hi guys, my name is Gregor. I play Adair, an Air Genasi who is going through changes.
Hello, I'm Callum M, who's not Callum B, who is not here today, who's playing Cognac the Barbarian, who's not Thea the Priestess of Chaos, who's not here today.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, my name is Alexander. Quite Skeven. Still pretty terrible at everything.
I hope so too.
We heard you.
We
Not
heard.
quite loud or clear, but we heard you. Hello, Colin. I'm playing Vanger, who is a dwarven sort of priesty boy. We'll get further into that. Don't want to give too much away.
Probably not.
Yeah, no, he's keeping it vague.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you remember from last time?
I held a guy's hand.
Oh.
Lies.
We transported to the UN refugee camp in Palestine.
I don't think so. Don't think that happened.
Sorry.
Wait, what?
Like, I know my games take some right-angled turns sometimes, but...
We went to band camp.
I do love Alison.
And Alice, if you're out there listening, you're more than welcome to guest star or just be a permanent member of the cast.
Absolutely.
Just know this. Same with you, Alexis Denisoff. You're more than welcome too.
Tilda Swinton.
She knows.
my letters have been sent.
Mm-hmm. I feel like she'd just know anyway.
I remember that they appeared in the gift camp and said all sorts of ridiculous things about city and dragons. Except when I see they and all sorts of ridiculous things, I mean he, specifically Adair, said a ridiculous thing about how he's going to get a city for.
Yeah.
There's nothing ridiculous about that statement. That's the truth.
Yeah.
It could have just been you.
And
there was a great doom that was not really elaborated upon, but was, in air quotes, elaborated upon, that I'd like to know more about.
Indeed. Anything else from anyone else?
Fleabite learned how to knock people out. Or one person out.
The Jith man has telepathy, but only if you touch his hand.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that there, Mangy. What was that?
The Gith man has telepathy, but only if you touch his jand.
Okay.
Which Adair likes because he's just going to hold everyone's hand when he talks to them from now on.
Yeah. It seems to work better this way. So, anything else?
Do we still have the body of Al?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the cart.
Because the carts came, so did the horses.
Is Thea and himself narratively still with us, or have they decided they're going to be busy helping in other ways right now?
We did an epilogue scene for them last time, which was, the idea that you had been at the camp for a bit and obviously have been assigned some form of tent/sleeping areas, and they were in their own tent and mostly discussed staying put. So depending on where we fade in on you guys, either immediately, or if you feel like that was enough and you just want to settle in and rest or whatever, we can do the next day. If you have any particular preferences.
I vote next day.
I concur with that vote.
Okay. Vengar,
Strong feelings. Next day's fine.
Fleabite.
Sounds good.
Cool. So, before we jump in, I'll review the currently slotted goals, which are: Adair has "Why are the chud here? These chuds in this world." Then Cognac has, which very weirdly looks like it's been recently put in. Oh, yeah. I mean, why would that be? What's been happening?
It hasn't. That's what it was last week at the end. I thought about changing it, so I clicked on it, but then I didn't do anything.
Yeah, because we don't change goals at the start anymore. They need to remain until the end. So, Learn of the Doom, Wenger warned us of. And then Damien has proved my worth to the group. Well, he's failed that. Fleabite has learn how to properly brew the special tea. And Wenger has convinced these weirdos I am worth listening to.
Yeah.
It's a strong start, isn't it?
It's that way I'm like, if I knew that goal, I'm not sure I'd want to hold his hand.
But then if you hold his hand, would you discover the goal, right?
Good point.
You see?
Do you like hold his hand in a very weird way and get self-awareness that you are a weirdo for doing such?
And I think I think we know it's going to be in a weird way.
I feel like if you did that, you would definitely be able to read into it that he thought you were being weird. So yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's when I'll then hug you to find out the truth.
so based on all those wonderful goals, that's what's in play this week. Right. It's the next day. Who knows how long it's been? Nobody knows, because time's a vampire. And
Wibbly wobbly.
and other such quantifiable states. And yeah, like he's probably just been shown to some form of tentage, as it were. There is limited space available, given how many people are crammed in here, so it will literally be wherever they could have propped something up that was at least some form of shelter, quite frankly. You'll probably have been asked to double up as well. Obviously Thea and Haranen went off on their own. I'm gonna just make assumptions that probably Cognac and Fleabite probably doubled up, but that's really up to you guys to decide how that was dealt with. Vanger already does have accommodations here because he's been here a wee bit longer than you guys.
I like to think it's like a stick and like a sheet next to a tree.
I mean, it can be, yeah. You're probably not the only person that's next to the tree. There's probably many sticks that hang out from the tree. Yeah, big strong tree.
How climbable?
Probably pretty very climbable, to be fair. But there's probably already like people in there, because it's probably their watchtower as well, right? Their big tree. So yeah, there's definitely a room in that tree if you just wanted to go into the tree and be part of the tree, if that's something Fleabite wishes. So, everybody set up. Yeah, we're going to assume that. I'll just assume that you and Damien obviously shared a tent, and for whatever reason Damien got up early and just went a wander. So
that's mysterious. And
yeah.
It seems like mysterious.
Yeah. It's also just that he grew up in kind of tribal environment anyway, so this is like quite familiar for him. So the idea of patrolling doesn't really sit ill with him. So yeah, use I guess wake up in the morning, unless Vanguard you go for them to wake them up early.
No, I think I would try and just make myself useful.
How does that look?
Probably like helping with menial tasks, maybe like helping with cooking or what have you. Like with probably like the various people around the tree. No, they're maybe not. It's maybe not considered the premium spot. It's maybe more like where you get off your shift on watch duty,
Mhm.
sort of sleep at the bottom of the tree, and they're probably in need of a little bit more assistance than some of the other parts of the camp because
Sure.
it's quite a sizable camp, right? So
Yeah.
not one person's going to be able to tend to all of their needs.
Yeah, there's
No,
easily, like I think I said, easily 100 people easy at first glance.
You underestimate my caregiving ability.
In the camp, is there a sort of social circle, a social area? Like, is it a tent or is it just an open
So
ground? where
there,
everyone...
there was one when you came in. It's pretty much where you landed in, but it's been turned into like a makeshift fucking triage zone.
Ah, right. So there's pretty much just triage and tents.
The triage zone be in the tree.
No.
Ah.
No. We've already discussed the tree and its function and purpose. Yes. I think just throwing injured Gith into the tree isn't really that helpful.
The pun doesn't work in the Gith language, which is why they didn't think of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all Gith, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Like,
Mm.
Gith all the way down.
yeah, except Vanger, who is not Gith.
Except, yes.
Yes, and you guys who are also not Gith.
How do the Gith react to us being there?
They've got the fact that they have nothing, and they've been attacked multiple times to worry about, so they don't really. You're not currently attacking them. It's good enough, right? Like, they're keeping to themselves. Like, you don't see much in the way of children either. Whether or not that means they're being kept away from you or they don't have any, who knows? But
See, does it feel like a settlement or does it feel like an army?
I mean,
Yeah.
how would you know that? Out of interest, like
do the people that are injured in the triage look like soldiers, or do they? They're Gith.
I think you asked this last time, and I said it's hard to say, right? But like if you walk around in the morning, and like try and take in a bit more, like it's everybody, like it's just people, either soldiers or not, right? Like it doesn't seem to have any like particular issues. Obviously, you can assume the soldiers were injured in the kerfuffles that have been stated thus far, for obvious reasons. But it doesn't seem like it's only been soldiers that have been injured. Yep, Alexander.
Do we like hear them talking to each other?
I mean, by hearing, yes. Understanding, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very much like user strangers in their safe place and they don't know you. That's the vibe you have. So they're definitely keeping to themselves, or they're too injured to care. It's pretty much the place. They'd be very worried.
Is there a main hut where the big main chuddy stays, the one that brought us here, or do we know where he is?
Yeah, there is. There's a main place, right? It's like kind of behind the kind of triage zone, because that's where that man went when he arrived. When he just pretty much handed you over to Vanger. It's the only place that seems almost purpose built, right? Specifically.
I'd like to go there. I'll say that's where I'm going if anyone else wishes to come, but I'm definitely going there.
I will join Nikognik in looking up there.
Could we have like a conversation about how he communicated with Adair via telepathy? Just like, so you touched hands.
We held hands and I hear him. It's very strange, but it came through very clear and I like how he sound.
Oh, so he wasn't just being obstinate. I should have taken his hand.
And he has a strange feel hand, but he's nice because you then get to speak to him. He's nice.
What? Thank you for that vision.
It's okay. At least we do not have to hold hands when we talk. But he has.
We could,
if you want to. Shall we walk up to his place whilst holding hands?
I think Fleabag might get jealous.
We do not wish to make Flibbit jealous, so let's maybe not.
Hmm.
I like to think that Fleabite is just on the back of Cognac's shell, just like looking down at this.
Oh, I did not see you there. Hello, Flibbit.
Yeah, and I think you probably obviously encounter Vanger as you start to like approach where these slightly bigger tents are.
Good day to you, Vignir.
Yes. Good day to you. I hope you've found some way to make yourself useful around here. There's a great deal of need, as you can see.
How can we help?
A good question. What can you do?
My friend here is really good at making tea.
There's Snickles.
Brewing some myself recently, but I don't really know the plant life around here so well, and can't always use grass.
Hmm.
Anyway, there's a number of injured who could still do with treatment. I'm hoping to head over there myself. If
And-
any of you could help.
I am not one with the medicines, but I could maybe help in other ways. Maybe gathering water or some sort of supplies for the camp.
Perhaps if you speak to hold on, I've got his name here. Oridak?
Mhm.
Alright. If you speak to Oridak, you met him previously. He brought you here. Sure, he
Oh,
could find some
that.
use for you.
That's his name. I was going to ask you that, but
We did not know his name. We have met him a few times, but he never told us name.
He's more forthcoming than most of them, I'd say, but they're a little wary of us.
Da.
is
Tell
he
me,
the leader?
Strange new world for them. As far as I can tell, he certainly seems to be.
tell
Are
me.
there any other leaders amongst us?
Shrug.
So, like for Colin's benefit, there, like he is more like a kind of almost like a spiritual leader for the group. Like, see, imagine a bit more like a kind of like local town type guy, like the almost what would be the term, like proctor of a town, right? Like that type of idea. Is that the right word? Maybe I've just
The procurator fiscal.
like he's definitely he is seen as a leader, but not the leader, if that makes sense.
Is their spiritual leader, not their leader?
Yeah, like he's the type of person you'd go to like ask advice about something, but like maybe their leadership works a bit differently to how we would see it.
Yeah. Okay, well,
There's definitely military leaders here as well for Vanger's purposes.
so I'll say.
But like Orodak's the only one that's really made himself interactable, if that makes sense.
Okay, so yeah. At least he's the one they'll listen to.
Well, I have questions for him. Do you know where he is?
Just around here.
He'll probably be in like the tent where most of the leadership seem to exist.
Just point over tentwards.
Intently.
Head in there, you'll likely find them.
Is it okay if we go into tent, or do we need to be invited?
Yeah, there's it definitely has like Gith standing outside it, like at all times, like soldiers.
Are there any customs we should follow to make things a bit easier?
Do we
On
need
all
to
of us.
hold everyone's hand?
Probably and probably. To be honest, I just kind of go up to them, and sometimes they let me in.
Sounds like a plan.
Would you care to join us to like show that we are not a danger?
Sort of scratches his beard for a second. Yeah, why not? Yes. aye, come along with these.
That is good.
Okay. So you set up, and I mean, Fleabite, I feel like this is when you're supposed to tell us, in the morning I'll go through my usual nonsense, instead of just magically appearing on Thingy's back. But yeah, like, you don't lose your ritual weapons going through the night.
Okay.
Remember, it's only if, like, there's very specific reasons, but you get to sleep and they're still there unless somebody moves them away from you.
Rolled away in his sleep.
I mean, that's reasonable, right? If it rolls off the edge of a cliff and goes beyond whatever the distance limitations are for it, then yeah, that would break it. But it's a nice anti-theft thing built in to your packed weapon, which is good.
Yeah.
But the idea that you want to start doing like rituals for magic armor in this place might unsettle people, so you can let me know if you would go with that or not.
I mean, yeah, probably as soon as Fleabite wakes up, that is sort of.
Mm-hmm. So I think, can you roll perception for me, Fleabite? Well, maybe. This is when your sheet just decides to start deleting random chunks of itself when you roll. That's what I thought. Yeah, like, whether or not these Gith all have almost perfectly identical armor, right? It's hard to tell, but you definitely, most places you have went to in this camp all have soldiers. A very strong soldiery presence is what Fleabite has noticed as he's wandered from his sleeping place to the group. Whether that means that he's being followed by the same soldiers and Fleabite hasn't realised that is a different thing altogether, but the place looks very well fortified with soldiers all wearing identical armour.
I mean, just out of interest, I would like to make a perception check myself, just to see what I see.
No, this was retroactive for him doing his stuff in the morning. This was like because he woke up and started casting magic.
Fair enough.
And it is literally him wrapping himself in tattered fucking magical cloaks. So, yeah, Skaven, right? But yes. So, for Venger's point of view, their military leader is known as the Anarch. I'll just type it into Roll20, I guess. Anarch. And what that means, you can speculate, like military leader, general, like president, you don't know. It just kind of seems to be higher than Oridak. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool. As to that person,
Going to volunteer this.
yeah, and it's just stuff that I think you'd have picked up in your time here. But that particular Gith is the one that's definitely the like orchestrator of movement within the camp. Whereas Oridak's definitely, like, I guess, almost like the maintainer of the camp, right? And no, that's Ordak. It's Oradak.
I mean, I probably misspelled it as well.
That's
so.
okay. I have the spelling here. Let me find it. Where did I put it? It is Oradak. There you go. So you weren't far off.
Oh man, I had a C at the end, not a K. Otherwise, I'd have had that. There we go.
Yep.
Ooh, I nearly spelled something right.
And Oradak seems to be this guy's name, more so than a title, whereas the Anarch seems to be a title and not a name for you, Vanger.
So I didn't hear anything there then.
Oh no, that was said. That was all just for him. Because as I said, he's been here a while. He's picked stuff up. It's up to him to decide how well he trusts you guys, right?
Apparently thinks he's weird.
No, definitely no idea why. Considering it's on a goal sheet, you can't read any character. But yeah,
That's why I try and hold his hand every 2 minutes.
keep touching him. Yeah. Right. So outside this place, right, this tent that you're approaching, there
Mhm.
seem to be again for to call them Vanger, these things are called Zerth. It's almost like, I guess, like guard or soldier or like maybe even paladin, right? It's a word that seems to be interchangeable.
There.
Zerth. So Zerth. Type that as well. And that just almost means like, important guard, right?
Honor guard.
Yeah. Like it could be, right?
Big lad.
Yeah. Lad.
Jokes.
Capital L. So yeah, and it's the Zerth that can take out contingents of troops, and or they'll take out they'll hold like the positions. Like one will be in the watchtower, for example, and then other people will join them. They'll hold gates and stuff like that as well. So they're like, you could imagine them being like sub commanders, right? I guess, as well. So they're like trusted with troops.
Captains in a way, but
Yeah, I guess that's another good translation for it as well, right? Yep. This is just stuff that you've kind of pieced together from how they're referred to, like politely, by each other. Like
the gift can be polite.
apparently, yeah. Other stuff for, again, Vanger only. You know enough that obviously these are the Githzerai and the others are the Githyanki. You know that. That's something that has been conveyed to you during your possibly fleeting conversations with Oradak when you've got access to him. And like beyond that, they're just divergent, right? Like they're not the same. Beyond being the same people, they're very, very culturally different. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it what you've got. So yeah, as you approach the kind of the tent, as it were, the head honcho's tent, the Anarch's tent, where Oradak was last seen entering. The Zerth stand obviously to attention, and obviously stepping, impeding your movements.
Are they dressed differently in any particular way that identifies them? Like a sash or a something?
I'll give you a piece of art for them.
Oh, yes, please.
I'll dump it in TI chat.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like they definitely have fancier looking gear on them than.
They look like monks.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was thinking monks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Would you say their skin color gray?
I mean, I would say it's kind of like a mustard. Why?
English or French?
I mean, I feel like English.
American.
Mustard or creme anglaise?
So I'm going to describe them once again, and once again only. It is a French fancy, a lemon French fancy that has gone off, and you probably shouldn't eat it, and that's the colour of their skin. And this is
But
this,
you want
That's
to.
when they're just right.
and yes, and you definitely want to, but yes. So there we have it. That is their skin colour. That, or they all have really, really poor functioning livers.
Or maybe they don't have livers.
Maybe, yeah.
He's a bit of a melon head.
So anyway.
As
Yeah.
we approach them, I'll sort of, I guess, kind of give like a sort of respectful bow of acknowledgement.
And,
I
yeah,
am being cautious, so I might do the same. Like I'll follow his gestures.
yeah. And they're just standing as if to imply you're not going to get past.
I'll sort of wait a second and then speak up. These are the ones Oradak brought yesterday. Speak with him if he'll allow it.
And then one of them looks to the other one, and they start to exchange some form of the dialogue. And obviously, Oradak is mentioned in this dialogue, and then body language shifts between the two of them somewhat, and clearly they differ in opinion. And
Could I roll perception to see which one, which way the wind is swaying?
could roll insight.
That's what I meant.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Adair stands staring at them intently with no idea what's going on.
Yeah, but like,
Nice.
I think, like, obviously, maybe Cognacs have, like, remembering back fondly to a lot of, functional events that have happened in his past, where you read a room and you read people. You don't listen to what they say, you read how they're saying it. Nobility, that joy. And,
Lovely
yeah.
times.
So it seems like one of the guys seems to think, it's important information that Ordak's been mentioned, because his entire body language shifted when it was mentioned. The other one seems very stoically self-righteous in his positioning at stopping anyone passing. So the stoicy one stays, and the impertinent one runs off. And he goes away into the tent, and you're standing with one of the guys in front of you, just, again, blocking the way.
Could I whisper my knowledge to Adair, the one that left? He seems to be a fan of Oradak. This one, not so much.
Maybe he goes to tell the Orknecht that we're here to let us in.
I probably be doing that.
And I think out of the tent steps Oradak and this other Zerth as they approach, and he just kind of puts his hand on the shoulder of the Zerth that's blocking the way, and kind of just like nods to them, and they both go and like stand guard against the tent again. And Oradak's kind of standing there in front of everyone, and kind of just definitely looking a lot better than he did when you met him.
Hey, you look a lot better now. It's good. You had good night rest.
He kind of just like closes his eyes and he kind of nods, and he kind of smiles, and he just kind of looks at everyone like quizzically with his eyes wide, as if, what can I do for you?
I wish.
Oh, sorry, I'll let you.
After you.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Roll for it! Why not?
Flip a coin.
I'm going for something very basic, so I'm curious as to what you want to say.
Yeah, okay. I was just going to say something to the effect of they've asked to speak with you in the hope that you may have some use to put them to.
Da, we wish to help.
But I also wish to be illuminated on the exact nature of your being here, the specifics of what happened to force you away, and this specific thing that you were running from, this other party.
Okay, nods. And like, what's Cognac basing his other party knowledge on?
Did Vanger not mention about the
I
Doom?
intimated about something else. Yeah, something.
Which I don't know much about. I just know that the reason that they are fleeing is not because of the Gith, which are devastating the countryside, but the other party. That's all I know. So.
Yeah, this third element. So or that kind of just like almost like resignatedly just like nods, or resignedly nods, and motions like back the way you came towards like another tent.
Right, nod, no, start walking that way.
Yeah, it just looked like an empty tent essentially, down the hill a bit, from the leader tent, as it were. And
I'd probably walk, but do that sideways thing where you look at the other person to see if they do it with you.
just so you don't walk alone.
Yeah.
I mean, you look to the side and you see Fleabite's face. It's hanging down your shoulder.
Oh God! Don't scare me like that.
So, yeah. You all head to the tent. It's just a big empty tent. And,
Anything inside it? Like
just like...
furniture of any kind, or?
No, just like the equivalent, like, a dugout fire pit in the middle, right?
Sure.
And, clearly, like, some form of, like, fabric that's been used as, like, some kind of seating or kneeling thing. Oh dear. Look at Scott in the chat. Oh, hello, Scott.
I thought he was
buddy.
going for a nap.
No.
Oh, he's awake from the nap. No.
Look at him trying to GM from the chat. Spend your triumph points, buddy. That's how to GM from the chat. Save for the Tarask. Oh. So, besides, the recently departed,
It's a ghost.
he's all going there. And yes, anytime, Scott, anytime. Who says you don't normally? And yeah, we've got him who kind of comes in last and kind of like kneels down in the fire pit, and then starts to like look around. And like, seems to be looking for something.
Sorry, who came in looking for something?
Oradak, he was last in to the tent, and seems to be looking.
Did the
So-
second GIF come along with him?
No, because when I described them, they both went back to guarding the door to the main tent.
Oh.
So, yeah.
No, I just thought I did a brain fart and I totally imagined there was this fourth GIF that just came with Ordak.
No. So what happened was there was two that were guarding the tent.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yep. Now
I did the same earlier, to be honest.
like I've mentioned another GIF, obviously, the Anarch, but they haven't been on screen yet, as it were. So we have not seen them. But as I said, Ordak's there, and he just seems to be looking around. It's not big enough for like Fleabite to really comfortably be on Gognak's back in here either. It'd be a bit awkward. There would just be a Fleabite shaped bump in the top of the tent.
That's never stopped them.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I was thinking.
But yeah, it's definitely awkwardly cramped, put it that way. But yeah, so he seems to like be patting around and looking for something. What's everybody else up to while he seems to be busy?
I kind of stand and watch as he does this.
You mean sit and watch, right? Sit and watch.
Oh, sorry, sit and watch.
It's
Sit and
definitely
watch as he
cramped.
does this.
Mm-hmm.
Rifling through a pouch of dried up plants and what have you.
Okay, yeah. So basically potpourri.
Sure.
Knocking your pipe.
Oh no. Lost that about 3 months ago.
New goal. Get Wagner his new pipe. I'm probably just staring off, trying to rack my old turtle brain about what I'm going to say with little success.
Mm-hmm. And after like a couple of minutes, he seems to like find what he's looking for, and it's just like two pieces of stone. It just starts to like spark together to start lighting the fire pit. Then after a couple of minutes of him struggling to light this, it then
Probably
goes.
chuck some dried up plants into it.
So yeah. And
Does he manage to get it?
yeah, like I think with the aid of Vanger throwing in some nice dry burnables. Yeah.
I was going to suggest enraging and then getting my aura going and pointing lightning at it.
And just blowing the fire pit up. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, I actually have a tinderbox. Shit.
He's probably all do. So yeah, he after he kind of gets that going, kind of like rubs his hands and kind of like starts to enjoy the heat, as it were. And then like kind of gestures openly with the hand to like the group.
I think maybe he wants a circle time with the hands and the communication and
Should we all hold hands together?
Like,
well,
I think he just kind of I think he just slowly shakes his head. Like what? Like what? Like he gestures like take it away, Please be my guest, A vague hand motion, a sweeping towards you. Not an indication of please take my hand. But it's more of a gesture of I know you have questions.
well, I don't really know what to say. Oradak? Is Oradak, yes?
Kind of nods.
We know you're not of this world. And that you are not so different from your more violent cousins, or brothers, should I say.
Kind of raises an eyebrow.
The other Gith, the ones terrorizing our countrysides across the world. Why is it that you are so divided in two? Is it merely two parties divided right down the middle, one for violence, one for peace, or are there multiple parties? Even more so than we know.
And he kind of just has like a, like almost like a kind of blank smile, where he understands that there's going to be a lot of questions about the nature of everything. And, but there's obviously like no joy in that smile either, because it's not necessarily a good subject for them. And he kind of just like slowly nods as if accepting this is going to be a thing. And then he looks at everyone and then says in very broken common, you will understand in time. We have returned to this place. And he just looks at you, Cognac.
Returned, you say?
And nods.
How far back are we talking here? My family ancestry goes back very far. I'll have you know.
And they kind of
With a fake air of pompousness.
like nods, and again in very broken common says, old, long ago, your kind, unfamiliar.
And Fleabite make a intelligence, whatever, to try and to have the link between what. Oh no, Fleabite probably didn't hear anything that you said about the Genasi to do.
No, that was within Adair's mind. I wanted to ask that too.
Yeah, because Adair obviously checked out on that one. But yeah.
Oh, Dad, I'm very good. I said so.
But I mean, if you want Alexander to just make an intelligence saving throw for no reason, please be my guest. I have no issue with this, because he doesn't like just rolling dice. There we go. Perfect. Whatever that was for, you failed.
Cognac has a very high history score, and I based that on him having to learn about noble houses and then taking an interest in his own backstory, which he didn't know about. So he searched for things, so then he got into history.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to roll history and just start naming off civilizations I know that are old, just like the blah blah ziblins, blah 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 blah, and see if any of them hit.
Right, so let's go back a couple of steps to the word I missed, which was whatever the thing you were trying to quote was.
The blah blah ziblins.
Nope. I got all of that, but you were saying those were examples of.
Old civilizations I knew
Right.
that were
Okay,
old.
that's the
and
part I
gone.
missed. Yes. Okay, because all of that was just like I would like.
I made all of
I-
everything
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, I'd missed that, and I was like, oh, it was blah 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 blah. Okay, yeah. So, in that regard, you've got a history check to make. Yeah, why not? I'm sure there's a book on something somewhere. Right. Okay, yeah. So, there is a. From your recollection, there obviously like your family would have had books on like stuff kind of more related to Aztalush, where they're from, which is the not far away from actually where the turtles used to live, right?
Yeah, I thought that was.
Yeah, so Aztalush is just like the island north of where the turtles used to live, and I can take us to the. Why not go to the world map? I'll tell you why not. So here's a good chunk of the world. And nicely enough, there's Aztalush. And there's Old Tatooine, where the turtles used to live. So, yeah. Aztalush is one of the older places. Like, they seemed to at least have been around at the fall of, like, you know, the remnants of the Genasi, right? Whereas, I'll just leave us on this page actually, why not? Because it's a good page to be on, I guess. Or like a story session, I'll just try and get us a more centralised view of it. Let me just move that out a bit. There we go. So, yeah. So, in a maybe in like a vain attempt for like Cognat to try and get a connection with his parents, being the Yuan Ti purebloods that they were, there was a lot of writing about a person called the Queen of Serpents, just some kind of bizarre deity that the Aztalush used to worship a long time ago. But as, you know, I guess being lifted in a way to a more intellectual society, their superstitions fell away, and they became like less and less kind of dependent on like the belief structure of these like mythical figures. But it was there's probably something you read. It was probably like a random ass story about the Queen of Serpents and her dealings with the original like people of the world, the shapers of the world, which a lot of people would argue are the Genasi, but it never stated in that particular story at all.
Yeah, like it's the kind of story which could be very clearly analogous, but there's just no evidence to back it. So it's just
because it's like it's obviously been like vocal history for a long time, right, or verbal history for a long time. So it's probably not even the true story anyway, right? Whether or not there was a Queen of Serpents or not, I mean that could just have been someone deified over time as well, right? So it's kind of the reason why they've kind of moved away from legends, the Yuan Ti and anyone else from the Aztalush. It's not to say that there isn't still like practice there or anything like by other people, other races that might live there now, or maybe people that just never like had the same intellectual rise as like the Yuan Ti did. But
so
yeah,
I presume perhaps I start naming off old civilizations, and I start off with the old Tatooine before the fall, and then I just go off from there, and I end up talking about Aztalush quite like briefly, quite quickly. I assume perhaps he picks up on that, maybe.
You can assume that if you like. That's all within your character capabilities if you wish to assume. But yeah, so you just kind of like, kind of nods at that. Like, how much of what I've told you are you sharing back to the group?
In my mind, I'm just speaking it all out loud as my thought process is going, saying it. Oh, there was this place, and then this thing happened before then, and there was these people there, and oh, there was this Queen of Serpents and thingy.
Adair's just listening and nodding along like he has total like he knows exactly what's going on. He has no idea what's going on.
I was gonna say, yeah, like, how much about your people do you actually know? You know, like, so little about your people, don't you?
Yeah, I know nothing about my people, so I'm just nodding like,
Yeah.
please.
Something about a fifth element, you said.
Yeah.
So, love,
You're right
I
here.
think. Yes.
Right here, you love chicken. Something to do with chicken. Yes.
Jovovich.
Pecan.
Yes, Jovovich.
Jovovich.
So, yeah.
Would we be able to pick up on him bluffing?
And who bluffing?
Adair.
I don't think Adair's actually said anything in the scene yet.
I'm nodding. I'm listening.
Like
That's
nodding
all.
along. Okay.
I mean, you could roll insight to see if he just is like doing that kind of passive listening thing, right? If you want to give me a wee cheeky insight there, Fleabit. I mean, now
You can see Adair's counting the shapes on the shell of Cognac.
like, totally listening, taking it all in. Yep.
Oh, that's like a Skaven.
Oh dear. So, yeah. Anything else Cognac has on his mind? Or anyone else for that matter?
Well,
Dang.
I did the minute. Was it Cognac that said about the Genasi?
I mean, don't think he's mentioned
technically it was
Genasi.
you.
No, I don't think Cognac's
Like-
mentioned Genasi yet. Nope. Because it was Ordak that spoke to you psychically and mentioned the Genasi. That was it.
It's just, I don't want to interrupt Cognac's train of thought right now.
Go ahead and do it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Grazie. Oronuk, last time we held hands, you tell me about the Genasi. You've been here before. Can you tell me about my peoples?
And he like stops looking at Cognac and kind of like turns to you, kind of like nods again. And he says again, a very broken common. Not that he's got much to work with at the moment anyway. And he says, young. And that's it.
Would maybe help if I hold your hand again.
And then he puts his hand out.
Hey, I take hint.
Do you want to give me a wisdom save, please?
Cognac would just like to go. Remember to tell us what he says this time. It's infuriating.
Oh, I'm not telling you nothing, man.
No, it's good. The lower the better.
Oh, true. That's a good point.
Yeah. So this feels a little different, this one, right? This isn't just some weird sharing of a language. This seems to be like an exchange of data, right? A very strong exchange of data that you'll be overwhelmed with, and it'll take like a bit of time for it to slowly unspool in your
He's
brain.
downloading it into my brain. Oh, God.
Yeah, but
I
then
don't have enough going on in my head right now.
the problem is you need like zip software, so it's going to take time to like unzip and extract to the right folders as well. So it's going to take you time before you can just sit and peruse it all. But
You finally have run out of 1 hour free trial.
Yep. They finally enforced an actual purchase. That's to be honest, that's the last thing that happens in 2020. By the way, to really signify the end times, is that zip software is no longer free. VLC starts charging and everyone has a breakdown. So besides that nonsense, there's also a removal of data, like almost like a copying of information from you as well. Like you can definitely feel like this is an exchange of information.
I'm so sorry he's not learning much.
And like his hand like his other hand, like kind of goes over the top of your hand, like as you're holding it, almost like in a kind of comforting way, and like he conveys like his condolences for Alvin.
You knew he was friend.
And he kind of like nods, and there's like there's a deep sincerity to this kind of like exchange, psychically, and yeah, but like
Does Cognate pick up on that?
I don't know. I feel like
A slight tear appears in Adair's eye, and it.
Okay.
and I think it's maybe the equivalent of like having a migraine as well. That you're sitting with just now, because it's going to take some time for like this to kind of play out this information. So it just kind of feels like you've been overwhelmed, right? And then the addition of this kind of, my condolences, for your fallen friend, because in a way he can see the efforts that Alvin went to not just once but like twice, to actually help this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's definitely like a bit of a connection.
But him, yeah.
No, he never mentioned that. Obviously, those students could have been of nefarious birth, but yes, the less said about them, the better. I think.
Well, he just downloaded my memories, so.
Yeah, like he's definitely seems to have taken things that like you don't exactly know if he's taken everything or if he's only taken certain things or whatever you have like maybe like mentally emphasized, right? Like it's hard to say what he's managed to get access to, but he definitely seems to know like at least memories you have, some of them. And obviously you're not necessarily sure what he's hit you with, but there is like a strange familiarity with Genasi that has come across. Like,
does he speak Genasi?
I don't know.
Like, well, I was just wondering if he maybe transferred info into my head via Genasi.
There's no language for what's transferred; it's just understood. So, like, it would be one of those things where when you think about it, you hear it in your voice and not his. Right?
No kung fu.
yeah.
Right, I got you.
Yeah. So, and if Cognate wants to try and see if there's any kind of emotion to this interaction, you can roll insight if you want. What do you think's going on?
I imagine they're just chatting to another and
keep in mind
having a heartfelt.
Keep in mind the visual is he's taken his hand, he's then put his other hand over the top of it to almost reinforce the physical connection, and now it looks like Adair's having a migraine and is crying. That's the visual you've got to work with. So I don't know if that looks heartfelt at all.
Adair! What did he do to you?
Well, sorry, my head. He is not bad. He gave me images, but I cannot quite see it. It's strange.
Wrong source formatting.
Maybe I should download again. I don't know. But he's sorry for our loss of the Elvin, and he seems to be very nice. Is what I'm getting.
Lost one of your own then?
Several.
Moments before we came.
My. Terribly sorry to hear that. He sounds sincere, by the way. That's just how mad.
Yeah.
I feel like that's also a dwarven thing, though, right? Like, terribly sorry to hear that. Just very matter of fact, right?
And he is quite
dwarven.
Yes.
Also, where's the spectacular role playing of Fleabite laughing?
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah, that's fine in my book.
Aye.
Grumbling.
Don't use be Fleabite apologizers, okay? Let's. Perfect.
Cannot even touch.
Perfect. I love it. Have inspiration if you don't already have it. For being forced into that.
That was transactional.
I'm nothing at not buyable.
He gave you information, though. He gave you knowledge.
I believe so. I'm not sure. It's very cloudy. It's given me very sore head. I believe I might need to have a drink or something to deal with. But it's very early in the morning, so probably not good idea.
Cognac would quickly turn to Oradek and ask him, "What you gave him, can you give to me? I don't have the right questions, and the speaking is so slow, and I'm so clumsy. This would just expedite the whole process, and I don't mind a little pain."
And Oradek kind of like nods and motions for you to like maneuver through all the people to get around the fire, because obviously the seating arrangement isn't exactly there where everybody's next to him. So yeah, you
I
can.
slightly misshapingly budge Adair perhaps a little bit too much.
Wait, what?
I'm big, all right.
Rubs his shell up against the door. Yeah.
A few barnacles.
I'm standing there going, "Oh, I've got such a sore head," and then you're just like, "Let me past."
Let me pass. There's important information.
I need to be touched too.
To be fair, like the shell's probably not very sensitive, right? So you wouldn't even know he's doing it.
No, but Fleabite gripping on his back is sensitive. So
My cloak is just billowing in his face as well.
Cloaks, plural.
and yeah, so you shimmy over, and he kind of like motions his hand out, for you, Cognac.
I motion to Fleabite's hand and then to my hand and to his and suggest, is it possible? Well, I just say, is it possible for a threesome?
He kind of just shakes his head.
In a no? Like, this shaky head thing's confusing because people sometimes shake yes or no.
I feel like I'd say nod.
Yes. I believe he means no.
What does Fleabite say there? Because I heard yes, and then they almost gasp for air to say more.
Yes. Triangle. Strongest shape.
This is why we find out like Fleabite's actually a fucking like a structural engineer.
I believe that.
I mean, why not?
That's exactly why he's not so civil.
Yep, structural engineer, not civil engineer. Yep, clever. I'll appreciate that joke. Yep. But yes, so yeah, Ordak shakes his head dismissively, and then kind of like motions asked to be like a kind of one-on-one by just kind of gesturing with his like hands between two people.
I'd like to just pick up Fleabite with both my hands and just plonk him onto Adair's lap, whether or not he refuses to accept him.
You sure? Go for it.
You have been gifted a Fleabite.
Oh, neat.
Is his ear still ringing a little bit?
Oh, he has a migraine. Yeah.
Just be like,
I've got a migraine now, a filthy flea bite on me. It's like, ugh.
yes. What makes your head sore hurt? Yes.
He was hurting for one reason, now is another reason. Oi.
I wish I had thunderclap.
Wait, I think I do.
We've got Alvin's corpse just thunderclaps in the back of the cart once. It's just the air escaping, you know? It's just the air
I know what
escaping.
might help. And just before I turn back, I gift Fleabite a bag of my a jar of my maybe tea and request that some tea be brewed over the fire because I feel as though I'm going to have a headache. Something tells me I'm going to have a headache.
Does Fleabite do with this gift?
Yeah, he Fleabite then also takes out his kettle and tries to replicate what Damien showed him.
Sure. Do you give me a survival check?
Please be a 20. Please be a 20. Please be a 20.
I'm like survival or history because it was something we've just shown. I don't think either helps him.
Religion. This is my truth.
That's reasonable, right? Like it's only tea you're making, so yeah. And there already is a fire there, so it's not like you've got like a particularly difficult step to overcome. So yeah. Where are you getting the water from?
I have a water skin on me.
Can I give
Whether
that
or
to
not
you?
I refilled it from my last interaction with it
I feel like
last week.
you've poured it over him, right, and then you just went to bed, and then you were teleported. So yeah, I don't think you have.
It's been a full day though.
Yeah, but then that's when you were saying, could I have done this during my full
I will
day?
give him my water skin, noticing that he's
Mm-hmm.
forgotten water for the tea.
Yeah, so Fleabit, you're equipped with your water.
Cognac will remember this.
Yes.
Usually need some of that.
Does
No, I had one.
Fleabit interact with Vanguard in any meaningful way? Giving gifting more things for your adventure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess does he hand Fleabite the water skin, or does he
I
just
hand
pour
you
the
the water
water
skin.
in? Okay, well, I'd take the water skin, and then after I've poured the water into the kettle, I stow away the skin.
Honestly, he's probably just looks at you unfazed by that. Nods. Aye.
And I nod back and say, "This is what happens with him." And
Which
then I
is
offer my
fine.
hand to you.
You offer your hands to who?
Oh, Fleabags! To Oradak.
I was gonna say, because if you give Fleabit your hands, you won't get them back.
They're a little too green for my liking.
So yeah, like Ordak just kind of quizzically watches Fleabite perform this ritual. Fleabite, are you using your tea or Cognac's tea?
I think Cognac's tea.
Okay.
And I also then stow away the.
Okay, cool. And yeah, so you have brewed a pot of tea, and by the time, I guess, I'll finish this scene with Cognac who turns back to Ordak, and you take Ordak's hand, yeah.
So warm and sweaty.
Kind of slimy.
It's actually quite dry and coarse, actually, like sand. You're unsure of his opinion of sand.
Insert Anakin joke here, yeah.
So he I need you to make a wee wisdom save for me, buddy.
Okay.
Should be okay at this, I think. Nope.
No.
That's fine. And yeah, like there's a strange familiarity to this exchange. You can't quite put your finger on it. But there's something almost deja vu-esque about this, right? Like, yeah, I think that's the best way I can describe it. No, just the connection that seems to have sparked between the two of them. There's definitely some kind of deja vu vibes to this for Cognac. Again, very difficult to like narrow down why this feels familiar. And you hear like, again, I would say Oradak's voice, but you know it's him talking because it's a psychic connection. It wouldn't really be in his accent or anything. It just says, "What is it you wish to know?"
What do you flee from?
Persecution.
Why does it follow you?
In some way, it follows everyone, but us more than most.
Elaborate.
And he says, "It is a great deal of history hard to convey in a moment.
I love history.
Then you must have had a kind one.
Look into my mind and you will see. Not that I would judge it either way.
You hold no judgment over your past actions? That seems more of a question than a statement.
Not that, merely that I know myself what I've seen and been through and what it has done to me. But I know that either way the scales can go far to the left or the right. To place overbearing weight on the past is to condemn the future.
And then Ardak says, your statement seems to conflict with itself. You both judge and don't judge yourself by the past. This would seem to be confusing.
Juxtaposition is a funny thing.
I'm not unfamiliar with it myself. The claim most strangers make upon us as the Gith Zerai is that we are merely Gith, and we are often followed by our brothers, as you put it, the Gith Yankee. They see us, our mere existence, as a threat, even though we pose none. And this is why they pursue us. But equally, they are not without their own persecution.
Is he saying this aloud, or is this?
No, this is all
handheld?
psychic. All psychic. Yeah, it's.
Could you see that very last bit again?
Probably not, because I'm ad-libbing.
Well, could you capture the emotional feel and
Yeah, basically,
general meaning?
right. So he said to you, we are not without, obviously, the stigma that if we turn up, people think, oh, it's no, it's the Gith, instead of the Gith Zerai versus the Gith Yankee. And that, where the Zerai flee to, the Gith Yankee seem to pursue them. And the Gith Yankee seem to have, they seem to take the Gith Zerai's mere existence as a threat to their own. Even, and he says, and I don't see why they would think that, because we are not a threat to them. And then he says, and they are not without their own persecution. I kind of lied actually exactly everything I said, but here we are. So,
what do they say about you that makes you a threat?
You would have to ask them for their belief structure. It is a mystery to even me.
So you are not in any kind of communication?
We have tried many times, through many worlds, to communicate. It is why we move so often. They do not listen. We are a threat. They wish to remove that threat. If you see any threat to your existence, would you not pursue its removal? You have seen our camps. You know they are capable of this.
Then tell me, what is it that brought you here? Mere chance or a specific event? For us, your coming was a major event. It changed our world. But for you, was it mere just a drop in the ocean?
You act like mere chance, and if major events, as you put it, are exclusive. They are not to us.
Then what do you hope to achieve in being here? Merely to flee again, or to rebuild?
We are unable to move on. This requires pathways to be open. We have none.
Warp stone. These pathways, then, if they're closed now, did you lose something?
We have lost many things. Do you have a specific question in mind?
Specific ability to find those pathways, or to sail them, or to open them? What is it about them that is now unattainable to you?
There are none open. We came here because the doors were open. Opportunity, rather than design.
Then you were stuck here like the rest of us. So, what do you seek to achieve whilst you are here?
Like the rest of us? Are you not native?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. The rest of us, the inhabitants of this world, we're all stuck here.
Yeah, but the way you say it still means he's going to ask you that question, because it's a weird thing to say, because it implies that you're stuck, right? And that implies that you feel stuck.
But we do, because we're under
I mean,
invasion.
I was going to say, the phrase we do, like, talk from Cognac's point of view. Because he's asking you, right?
That was Cognat's point of view on the whole. His individual goal view on the whole of the situation.
That just
That
sounds very
we
much like
as a group are.
Okay. So you, as Cognac, feel the entire group feels stuck in this world.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think his question still kind of stands then, right? Are you not native to this world?
We are. As far as we are aware, as I am aware.
Then do you wish to flee this world? You say stuck, like it is a negative.
I merely wish to know what you wish to achieve here.
Like, there's like an elated kind of moment, right, in the exchange. And just kind of one strong sense, one kind of driving force that gets imparted, and it's survival. There's not even the word said, it's the feeling.
And then we are together on that. But are we?
Your world was invaded, as you say. And that is both random and by design, according to what I'm understanding from you.
I don't know what else to ask.
I mean, does MD have anything else that they think Cognac could think to ask? Just kind of has to be within Cognac's wheelhouse, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Am I gonna assume that's a
How
no?
do you complete goal?
So if you get nothing else to ask, I mean, I guess that's the end of the exchange, right?
I mean, Adair's sitting down with a pounding headache trying to figure out stuff. I was wondering, when they've been talking, I was hoping stuff would come into my head, but it's all telepathy, so I wouldn't have heard stuff that would have made it come clear. So I'm sitting there with a pounding headache.
Yeah. Like, you're still
Have the
functional.
flea bite on your lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is possibly handing people cups of tea?
I just realised I've got a lot of questions about why Fleabite's on me making tea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have anything for.
I mean, to be fair though, like that can be the end of the exchange because if Cognac doesn't have anything else he wants to throw in on, that
And
is
I'd
it.
probably just end it with 2 or 3 questions, which would be: so is this all of you then? This camp, or are there a whole civilization?
There are more.
How many are in the world?
I'm fine with Cognac saying that.
I mean, I don't hear you say it,
How many are in the world?
doesn't it? I am unsure of our exact numbers or who has survived up until now. I am limited by this. And gestures obviously vaguely to himself in his weird psychic fucking vision form.
Cognac didn't Runestad Lunar. I'm going to say the wrong word first. So
Richter.
Richter von Ruhm.
Richter, didn't he say there was like a floating city or something above Little Beldor?
Yeah, but that's not them.
But does he know anything about the floating city? Like, is it magic? Is it tech? Does he know anything about it?
Good question.
Mm.
So, going on from that, Cognac would probably say, so then the news we hear of Little Bellinor, of the ship above it, is this your people?
And you can feel information leave your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yeah.
You can definitely feel information like being pulled at. To the point where you're kind of experiencing it again, right?
Could I be just joke like, no, that was my high skill prom. It's to the left of that.
I would just
Don't look
have
at that night.
I have an image of this turtle in a little tux, little snake.
What is pop punk princess?
Oh dear, terrible. Oh dear, no. No. He was a turtle noble, she was, you know. Yep. Anyway. So, information leaves Cognac's mind. And, okay, he says, then they have followed also.
Clarify they.
I wish they were within my capabilities to clarify. They are a menace from an outside place that have found their way inside and consume or convert as is their drive. They pursue us as a whole. The gifts.
Consume and convert. Do you mean religiously or in an edible fashion?
Mm.
What does that mean?
And you kind of like, you can feel like there's again like information's been pulled from you almost for like him to take understanding for like what you're trying to convey. Because obviously he is working his best to try and learn A, how a turtle thinks, and B,
Not very much.
how someone from this world thinks and speaks.
Slowly.
I mean, kind of fast actually, since it's only 60 years to get right. Like, it's almost the invert. They're probably like hyper, like caffeine high people.
I saw a video of a turtle running away, and it was actually really fast, and it was just wrong on so many levels.
So, yeah, I think like he struggles to like pull the information from you, in ways that you would understand, like what he knows of the ship.
Mhm.
And he says the others, the pursuers, they care not for the differences we may share. They merely grow their own.
Hmm. I think I understand.
They leave little of the former.
Then, finally, we are on a quest. There's a man in a castle, and he wants us to get this dragon egg, and we have to make it all the way to this place far away called Bellinor. And
Nope.
there's lots of no, not Bellinor.
I mean,
Baru,
Barris. Yeah.
Barris.
Yep. The Baru from Barris.
Barris.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That place there.
How embarrassing.
I think that me and you are both my inner monologue that he is hearing right now of me arguing with myself, going, no,
And you can also feel like the pulling of the information to try and understand what's a mistake, what's not a mistake.
he's pulling one thing, and then I say no, and he puts it back, and he's taking another thing.
It's like when someone's trying to help you cook in your kitchen, but they don't know their way around, and you're like, that cupboard, no, the other cupboard, yep, it's in there, not that cup though, the other cup.
I
Yep,
know you are capable, I'm just not capable of helping you.
Yes. So we have this two cooks in the kitchen vibe going on, yep, as you try and word this about Barris. So what is it you're trying to say to him? Yeah.
We don't know if this is for the good of the realm, of the people, of the planet, yeah, we are on a planet, I think.
This one is.
Of the planet. We know it may be for the best of the group of us. But do you have any way of helping us? Even to understand better why we must get this dragon egg? Not that I think you would.
Are you going to convey what you need to do with the dragon egg for?
Well,
Rune?
we were only told that we need to get the dragon egg, and then someone told us to destroy it, and then someone told us not to.
I mean,
but Richter only wanted it.
Richter
himself.
said he wanted for you to secure the dragon egg, or if you could prove you had destroyed it. Right?
Yeah.
And Thea wanted the dragon egg for herself. And Damien
Cognac wanted that too.
Damien turned up and said, the vision I had of all of you is to convey the message the dragon must live.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so there's like the dragon folio.
And they're still contemplating eating it.
Mm-hmm. And we know in the meta that Lyuda was taken to be standing in front of it. And
then I'd probably, to make this more easy, I harken back to my history knowledge, and that we're on a quest for dragons, and dragons have been around for a long, long, long time. And then ask him, what can he tell me about dragons? And they're returning to the world.
I think, like,
specifically red ones.
As you've been trying to like get all that, like those thoughts organized in your brain to piece together the sentence to send to him, you know, like a Scrabble board being slowly built. Like there is like a really strong psychic shift in tone in the connection. Somewhere between like excitement or anxiety, right? And he says, are you telling me there yet lives a red dragon?
Not lives. May. In future. And then I'm thinking of a big giant egg with a hat on it. That's sizable enough to cover the top quarter of it.
And so where did I just have a beanie hat in my head though? Like just an egg with a beanie hat on.
I was thinking
I always picture an ostrich egg when we're talking about the dragon egg. I don't know why.
I mean, feel free to. I mean, I've not exactly described the thing, have I? So it was
Well,
literally.
seen it,
I mean, you'd have seen it through Richter von Rune's fucking magical illusion he projected.
Yeah, the size of a building.
It was I don't know if I'd say it was the size of a building, but it was definitely a big boy. Yeah, it was definitely a chunky boy, but it's hard to tell. The illusion wasn't exactly to scale. So, unless it was, and Richter just never mentioned that. There's actually like a tiny illusion person standing next to it for scale. and it was actually like Hugh. But yeah,
Isn't it bananas for skill?
I mean, it can be, and not all bananas are made equally, and
It was a big boy banana.
So anyway, Ordak psychically conveys all that, and then kind of like stands up in the tent, kind of breaking the connection between both of you, almost like
Don't
shocked.
tease me.
And he kind of looks around at everyone, and he kind of like, almost like apologetically, like maybe like kind of fixes his robes a little bit and says, in broken common to the group, "Return shortly. Stay," and then leaves very abruptly.
Think I asked the wrong question.
Cooknick, do you think he means stay in tent or stay in camp?
Let's not be pedantic. I need a cup of tea.
The flea
my-
bite, make the tea in the tent.
God, is
Into
that
the-
my head?
Man, you're really bad at hearing when Alexander's really bad at talking, so please let Alexander speak.
He was talking.
Fleabite pours the tea into the Jezebel,
Mhm.
hands that to Cognac.
Thank you, bro.
It's like his
I
one
needed
teacup.
And I keep my eye on that Jezebel.
Don't worry, Fleabite. I'll give it back to you.
He's still kind of holding on to it as you're drinking with it. Helping.
My tail.
A stranger might think it was a cute holding his hand because he likes it, but no, he really needs the bell.
It's his bell, yeah.
I like that.
But yeah. Vanguard disturbed at all with the fact that Ordak seems pretty disturbed by, touching a turtle?
Not really.
Hmm.
No,
Valid.
Doesn't really ever seem disturbed, to be honest. That is something.
You could say
about
you
him
are indeed
that-
down with the sickness.
Yeah.
I,
No, he probably looks quite. I think he looks quite thoughtful. Like he's a little surprised to find something provoked that reaction. Maybe curious to find out what it is.
Not curious
He's
enough to
still-
ask what it is, no?
BDSM, but the safe word is that
Oh.
noise from Time of the Sea.
Anyway,
Asking.
Sorry, that got me.
meanwhile, back in the tent.
I think Cognac would definitely take a very big sit down and say, I'm going to need 5 minutes.
I mean, Adair can relate, right?
Yeah, Adair's sitting down, just like holding it, both palms in face, just kind of going, ugh. Because everything else that's happened, and now this, I feel like my head's 5 times smaller than it should be. Yeah, I'm actually in quite a bit of pain if I think about it.
Fleabite's having a great time.
You're making tea.
Tea.
Who knew Fleabite was going to become like the group chef of everyone, right? The caterer, as it were.
God, help us
The
all.
caretaker.
Mm.
You guys are gonna get so ill.
Yeah.
It's a Constitution primary group, that's what it's going to be. So, yeah, what's the chat in the tent then? These are left alone.
Well, Wagner, you know him a long time. Has he given you headaches like we have?
Right. First of all, addressing this out of character before we go into anything else. Has he? Is that something that I would think you think I would have experienced with him?
Only if you think there would have been in-depth conversations your character would have pursued, right? That he couldn't have got
I think
over.
my character, he honestly isn't that interested in the detail of their, because as soon as he's convinced that they weren't a threat, that they were somehow connected to it, though, he kind of just was, right, that's enough for me. So probably he wouldn't have
Yeah.
prodded too far. So
Then
I
yeah.
think that's your no then.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Okay, right. In character. Well, I can't say I've known him terribly long.
Mhm.
Doesn't usually get up and wander off. That one was.
I'm
Mm.
afraid to say, every time we've known him, he's wandered off.
Yeah,
Doesn't
he
stay for
always
long, that one.
disappears. He one time tried to give us child.
Wasn't even ours.
Da. I know my custody challenge.
Also, wasn't his child either, though. So
I see.
He gave us the random child. Is weird.
It's that awkward moment when you see a crying unattended child in the supermarket and you need to do the adult thing, but you don't want to.
what?
I never
Put a trolley over them. Someone
roll at them and call them a noob.
Because someone will return for you. If not, learn to fight your way out of this trolley.
Here
Give them
is a
coffee.
plastic knife.
What was that?
If you
Alexander?
survive the trial, you'll be able to go through the warrior trials.
Nope, no Alexander. Nope.
Give them an espresso.
There we go. Yeah, an espresso.
Give them a
That
gun.
hurts.
And
Did he just wait? No,
Mm-hmm.
Alexander. What, give him a
Mhm.
what?
Mm-hmm.
An
Espresso.
espresso.
Oh dear. Yup. Here we are.
give them.
Like,
I drink tea, not coffee.
Here's
Give
a
me a
little
red
strong
tea.
coffee.
There's tea in that
6
nebula.
bullets and wish them luck.
There was coffee in that nebula.
Yeah, but he doesn't drink coffee though. So this is obviously Fleabite as captain. There's tea in that nebula.
There's tea in that nebula.
Captain
No,
Fleabite.
I can't see the Skaven joining Starfleet.
I mean, you'd say that, right? But then the Ferengi and the Klingons have all joined Starfleet, right? For individual members. So Fleabite's the one Skaven that would end up in
That's true.
Starfleet.
What's the name of the planets in Futurama? See him joining that army.
What, the Omicron Persei 8 place?
Yeah.
Is that genuinely the one you meant? Because it's like the only
Yeah.
really famous alien world I can think of from Futurama.
I think of for Futurama.
Yeah. Omicron Persei 8.
That's where Nibbler's
With
from, isn't
Lur. No, it's Lur and Ngundaga, or whatever his wife's called.
it? Yes. Sorry, the big guy. Yes.
Mhm.
I have no recollection of it.
Yeah. It's basically like the invaders, I guess, of anywhere in Futurama.
They asked that they eat their children, nibblers.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it still reminds me of popcorn chicken from KFC, and I love
I
it.
just remember Slurm.
Yeah, that was
Ah,
a different place. Yep. But anyway,
I remember the planet of neutral.
separate to Futurama, as much as I enjoy it, let's keep in this game, shall we, until it's done. We can have some post-game chat if you are all so interested. So, he's had a disturbed Auridak leave the tent briskly. Nobody's asked Cognac what you spoke about, which I think's hilarious.
I'm nursing that.
I fully intend to say what happened, but right now I definitely have a big headache and I don't want to do anything.
So me and Cognac are in the same boat. We're just like, ugh. It
Well,
feels like.
So I want
hangover.
to be very clear from a GM point of view. Is a very different thing happened to both of you. There is no migraine left over for Cognac. There was
Okay.
definitively one left over for Adair because there was no small talk between Adair and Ordak. There was an exchange of a mass amount of information and experiences. There was not for Cognac. There was a conversation that they had.
I like to
Separately.
imagine that Cognac's brain is a lot simpler than Adair's. I might have a little bit of a headache.
Yeah, I just like you can have a
Far too
headache if
much
you
then.
wish, but like I just wanted to be very clear. There are very different things happened. Whether you are aware of that is irrelevant, but I need to make the players at least aware with that.
Fleabite can start ringing the Jezebel and there.
Just splashing tea over all of them. Also, the tea probably tastes alright, by the way, guys. Like, it probably tastes reasonable.
If I think it will help my headache, I will have a cup.
I mean, if you think tea would normally help a headache, sure. Beyond that, it's not exactly like it's medicine, it's just tea.
Herbal
You
teas, teas help certain things.
All
and-
tea's herbal, right?
Oh, we
You
should
will
send
have
them
to
a
provide
message.
your own cup.
Yeah. Like he only
She's
has
very-
one. He only has one cup, and it's a bell. So,
Ah.
yeah.
I'm still nursing my headache, so it's cool.
Okay. But yeah. So what's the chat in the tent while he's rolling, or is there any?
I mean, he's away. I'm nursing a headache. Cognat got a whole ton of info, so he could be telling Fleabite this, and I'd be listening, but maybe not taking it all in, just because pound and head. Wagner will be back in a moment. But yeah, I'd probably at this time. Actually, can I? With the time that's passed, is my head cleared in any way? Like with everything that's happening, has anything come through? Like
Definitely not. This is there is an awareness that you have a lot to process.
On top of what I already had.
Yes, on top of everything you've been through since your
Yep.
remember that comfy life before you run out of money.
No, not really. No.
Yeah, like it's been a roller coaster since then. So yeah, it's been a lot in the last year and a bit. So
Yep. So cool. I've just got like so much on my brain that it's causing me headaches. This is why I speak in a strange accent now. Random words and whatnot. But I'm just trying to think. I mean, we're in the camp. We're in the tent. Is this his tent, by the way?
I mean, it doesn't say Oridak's tent anywhere or anything like that, but like this is the tent he took you to. So
yeah,
it could be
bedding or
just ground and like as I said, whatever user like basically you're sitting on like bits of fabric essentially that are covering the ground.
Okay. I was just kind of like maybe this was his, but no.
I mean, again, it might be, but there just isn't like exactly a label that would say it was his, right? So how would you know?
Ordak's tent. Stay out.
Yep.
No girls allowed.
It's just a picture of him with a tick and then like anybody else with a cross through it.
Okay. So at the moment, I've got a pound headache. There's tea going around. The others are doing their own thing.
Yeah, I have no idea what others are doing, quite frankly.
I'd be trying to down as much tea as I humanly could possibly.
Okay.
And
Tortily.
I'd probably be bringing the group slowly and very, let's say, fairly relaxed in a way that didn't really get to the point ever about what just transpired.
Okay, well, let's have that then.
So, well, there was we did the mind link thing, and I was struggling for questions, and well, I did it. We had an argument. Well, not really an argument. It was just a semantic disagreement on what I was saying, and well, we got to the. I don't know. There was a thing about a dragon, and that's when it really ended. And I didn't say too much, but I said we were looking for a dragon that may or may not exist, and he got all giddy and left.
What do you mean? Like he giddy about the dragon or giddy about you?
I don't think I had that effect on him. I think it was mainly just the dragon.
Should we have
He's
told-
very old. Well, his people are. His people are very old.
I believe he is very old. He I think has given me information about my peoples which no one knows about.
You know about him now.
I don't know if I do. My head is killing me. But he got giddy about the dragon egg. Should we be concerned?
Perhaps, but he gave me a genuine impression that he's a pretty chill guy. I don't think he has nefarious purposes at hand, but I think
you say he's chill guy, but we have seen him in the battles. He is strong. He is good at what he do.
what I can say, I trust his motives more than I trust Richter's, though I do not know him well.
But the Richter is going to give us the Runestead
Is he?
if we return the egg or destroy the egg. I'm still unclear.
Sips tea.
Bell clunks in tea.
Hits tongue. Ah! Turtle scream. Ah!
Is he mating or is he in pain? Or both?
Let me show you the scream and mating pain of my family.
Is this the noble family?
Ooh, ah!
This is how you make the money. You do the songs back in day.
Well, I think we've successfully demonetized this video.
No idea what you're talking about, dude.
Right, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of talk about dragons from Cognac now. Anybody else want to weigh in besides Adair on the fact that there's a lot of talk about dragons that haven't existed in this world for a long time?
Can I roll not culture? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Roll the
That's
cult.
Starfinder speaking.
I mean, culture is the way to
roll
win
history
Starfinder,
to
folks.
See how much I know about dragon.
Sure, why not?
I will put a little preamble. Right. Fuck. Dragon.
Fuck. That was a
Oh,
preamble.
That's not a great roll.
Yeah, like, dragons used to be a thing, now they're not. Like, that's about it, really. That's probably as much as you'd get on a 12.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they were never really a problem for dwarves. They were they were very much a north problem of the world.
That movie franchise lied to me.
Yeah. Fuck you, Twilight.
Yep.
Never even seen that franchise.
Neither have I. I have no opinion on it at all.
So yeah, like that's about it. You get I think on a 12. Like yeah, and there doesn't seem to be like multiple kinds of dragons in this world. There is only like dragon or not dragon, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like dragons used to annoy people north. There were many dwarven leaders in the past that would have prepared the dwarfs to fend off dragons. But equally, it was the same measurements they took to fend off anyone that wasn't a dwarf. So, yeah. There's probably like really ancient, long, like rotted, like ballistas able to be slid out onto fucking mountainside balconies and shit like that. That probably don't work anymore.
Yeah, I was just curious if you had anything particular that you would, that would spring to mind. But if it's just the sort of
Well, just that dragons aren't a thing anymore, right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's it, really. They're not a thing anymore. Well, except for what Cognac, had said.
I mean, a dragon egg existing isn't that weird. I suppose he'd probably just assume, fossil or something.
Yeah, like the idea that there being some kind of relic from the past it's a pretty big deal because it means dragons could come back, right? If there's a dragon egg. So, that's a thing. But how much, obviously, Wenger cares about that is probably really...
And how much we tell him.
Well, I mean, Cognac has said multiple times in the tent talking about dragons.
Yeah, it's kind of given.
We've got a little more history in that.
Yeah, you have a bit more. Like, I mean, I do feel like you've mentioned that you're getting a city though.
Oh yeah, there's that, but there's other stuff about dragons and maybe some people with some fancy grills in their mouths.
Oh yes, there's a lot more history that you have learned. Yes.
Yep. Only way Wagner would know would be watching back on stuff. So
yes, if anybody wished to do so, I mean, you can check the VODs here on twitch.tv/VictorTriumph and or youtube.com/VictorTriumph. It's all available there, guys, on the VODs. Like,
He
subscribe,
was
and pay the money.
started off with a very posh accent and ended up in a very weird accent.
So yeah, anything Vanger wishes to bring up to the group, or is
I don't
Yeah.
really think he has anything to bring up to the group at the moment, at least.
Mhm.
Kinda,
Wigner, you know these kids you've been with for a while. The ones that look like the monks, the finer dressed, versus the armor ones that are all like cut. And is there any other sort of, how we say, hierarchy that we should maybe be aware of?
sure enough. Aye, there's the ones you've seen by the door with very fancy coats.
The ones who look like the monks.
I don't know about that. They're called Zerth, I believe. They seem to be some sort of
Zerf.
sub commander. They're more important, but they're not the leaders. They
Okay.
may be leaders of smaller groups of troops. It's not. Most of them don't exactly talk to me, to be honest with you.
Why
But
is this?
no common language doesn't help. Everything has to be.
Are you how I say, are you accepted among group? Are you outsider? Are you how is you here?
They're no ruder than most folk. So I suppose I'm accepted.
Hmm.
Came here in my travels. I encountered them. Was able to assist them, and they were able to shelter me from the same attacks that they'd been suffering. Don't particularly fancy meeting their cousins without a few
Da,
bodies by my side.
we have unfortunately experienced the cousins, and
Aye,
if anyone should be nearby, is the Ordak.
these
He seemed to do good.
these Gith have their own military, have their troops, but they're not they're not as aggressive as their kin. They're mostly they're mostly refugees.
So you say they have military, but they are not aggressive military.
There's a leader. There's some sort of, I don't know if you call him a general, call him the anarch.
Hmm.
You've probably
He
never
did-
you've probably never met this person.
Yeah, I'm
Ah,
assuming
I was about to ask that.
what exactly that means. That's go and sat down and laid it all out for just picking these things up.
Hmm.
The they have leader, they have troops, they do patrol, they do protect,
Da.
do all the things that most folks do, but never seen them going out looking for a fight. They're just
What
aware that one's coming for them.
what do you suppose he cares about dragons for?
Uh,
Big lumbering giant beasts of fire?
dragons, I suppose that'd be news to anybody, right? There's not been a dragon scene. Oh, I'd have to consult the books, and I left them, so I won't. Uh,
Rules for knowledge of where the dragon books were left.
there's
Makes
there's
sense.
certainly. I think the whole world accepted they're long gone, so that's news to anybody. But why he's so excited, being that he's not from around here?
Exactly. Are we supposed to believe dragons are some permanent entities across multiple verses, or
Could be,
they have a specific influence?
or
Scribbles
maybe,
notes furiously.
or maybe what we know them as, and what they know them as, are very different. He talks to you through the mind. Language isn't a barrier. No, there's not much room for confusion. Talk about a dragon, he understands what you. So maybe they do have them where they come from. Maybe they've got people and dwarves and sorts of folks. My people are an old race themselves. Not as old as some, perhaps, but like to think we have deep roots.
And just for Colin's benefit as well, like the dwarves are definitely younger than the Genasi. Like pretty much,
Yeah.
like it is. Everybody agrees the Genasi were the ancient race.
That's sort of referring to.
Mhm.
He knows much about the world, the past. Maybe simply encountered them here. Maybe they've been here before. Travel.
Hmm.
Let's say Cognat's thoughts on all that.
I don't think he'd say anything to that.
Say
He
anyone
just
said. Sorry.
no. I'm just Cognac would sit in silence and mull it over, try to collect himself for when they eventually come back.
Out of character, has anyone said anything about the thing over Little Bellinor? I know
I-
it's been talked about, but was that only
Mhm.
mentally? Was that
So that was only mentally with Cognac at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I know that Gregor has asked Mangi to mention it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but obviously Vanguard hasn't heard anyone.
No, like there's only been this, like the assumption that I think Cognac was making when he met Vanger was when Vanger mentioned there was like an oncoming doom, or something else problematic. He's probably assumed that is
Yeah.
one and the same. Whether he's right or not, I don't know how Cognac thinks about that because his answers from Ordak
Yeah.
at least gave him
I
some.
would have put two and two together and naturally assumed that was the case. But I think Cognac would probably take a wee while to let the dust settle.
Mhm.
You know, we could wee bit sitting in silence, mulling over what just happened, and
Yeah.
then I guess depending on the length of time that it took for Oradak to come back, like if it was shorter than 10 minutes, then I wouldn't say something. But if it was longer than that and he had time to collect his thoughts, he would.
Yeah, no, I think you've got time to collect your thoughts. Like, I mean, this is when you never see Oradak ever again.
So he'll be back when the narrative requires it.
Dak died on the way back to his home planet.
Oh dear.
Then perhaps there was a few minutes of silence, and then so I asked him about little Bellinor, and he said that the ship was not his people, and that it was they, and that they were bad. Is that
When you say they, do you mean the ones he fights? The ones we are fighting?
no? It's a third party we know nothing of.
There is third?
Well, then I looked to Vanger and I'm like, did you not make mention of a third party that was?
Aye. Aye.
Why did
Okay.
you not mention they had big flying ships that were the size of little cities?
I didn't know anything about any ships. I'm trying to find the answers myself, but I knew something was coming, something that wasn't just a gift. I knew they are always fleeing their kin and their kin are, well, they travel for their own reasons too. I knew these weren't the threat. I encountered them and I saw them, and they're no different than anyone else, really. There's something that doesn't belong here. Something.
Well, what was conveyed to me was something of the sort. He said that they had no place for anything other than themselves, and that they took over and converted and expanded.
Aye, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Do you think little Bellinor survived? I mean, it was a big city and there was powerful people there. Maybe. I don't know.
I know that I spent my life in service of the gods and never once heard their voices. Still one saw fit to warn me of what was coming.
Which one?
Oh, the Great Father, of course.
The grapefruit. Oh, he bring the wine.
Among other things.
You may ask him a favor on his birthday.
Was that Levi?
You hear great voice speak too?
Perhaps
It
not.
whisper, sneak in your ear.
The audio quality just helps that.
Yes.
Makes it worse. Perhaps not the same voice that you're hearing, but I heard his voice, and
It tell
produced
you
for
to
me.
kill, burn.
I'm fake.
I have to say, this is an altogether more disturbing affair you seem to be dealing with. Yeah.
Hmm.
Great Father has whispered his warnings and wisdom.
But
No.
what?
No, there's no burning and what have you.
Hmm.
But yeah, I expect a fight before just a healer.
You expect defeat with the grape feather?
No, not with him.
What was that about feet?
Right.
Who's
And
where are the
I did not know the gods had feet.
they might have defeat. Who knows?
you have very
Hmm.
strange conversations.
That is true. You should have seen us in Villa. We were collecting all kinds of things.
Features taste least good to eat.
Well, whatever the case, I knew when I saw the lot of you that that you had some part in this. This is a, if you don't mind me saying, rather unusual ragtag group you've got together here.
It's true. We meet a long time ago, nearly like maybe what, say 1 year, 1 month, 1 week ago. We were doing simple job when things went awry, and some things happened. But then these guys attack, and we were in the little Bilmore for over a year while he's being attacked.
These are no rags. Look at my cloak. It changes color.
He has two.
Very impressive. Mean no insult if I were commenting your clothes. No, I mean you're an unusual bunch of, well, frankly, no idea what he is pointing at Fleet. I've never seen a rat that big or one that talks. So
He's not red. He's the flea beat.
looks at him again. Well, at least
Just
he's
like-
not a rat. He does a good impersonation.
Fleabite's just like giving a really good scratch with his hind legs as well.
You, of course, are one of the elder race, and well, we've got your strange priestess that's gone off, and they seem to have found a way to make themselves useful, and I appreciate that. But I knew when I saw this group turn up, there was some reason for you here. Oridak brought you here, no less. Aye.
He did.
This thing, Eleanor, I think you're meant to fight it.
But how do you fight the thing in the sky that you cannot get to?
Well, you called it a ship.
Well, it
Generally,
looked. But is flying ship not one on water? How does one combat fly?
I love how the guy in the group that can levitate says this.
I don't, no one knows that. Shut up.
There's drug, magic.
What do you do here? I mean, I know you help, but why do you stay here? These are not your people.
That's true. But I didn't choose to come here. It's more, well, like I said, they was Providence. Met these people and realised they had a place in the mission. Fight.
Would
So
fight.
I help. Fight with whatever the hell that thing over your city is.
So you have been to Little Bellamore?
No. No, I just realised there was a fight coming and they weren't the threat. So I aided them.
Hmm. And you are sure you're on the right side of fight?
Sure as any man can be, but I'm more sure than anything that I'd have been set right if I were in the wrong place.
And if they are not the threat, are they going to fight for the other side?
Fight to live. If this thing truly does simply consume everything that it meets, they've met it before from the sound of it. Well, sounds like they'll flee, which they can't at the moment, or they would have, or they'll fight. So they'll fight.
Until they can flee.
Admittedly, there's a strong chance of that.
They brought it here upon us, and yet they would run at the first chance.
What makes you think they
How
brought
can we
it?
trust them? Because they say it follows them, and that it has followed them.
Fair.
Also,
It came after them
I was gonna say,
before.
technically they didn't. Ordak said the Githyanki follow the Githzerai, but this other thing seems to pursue the Githyanki. They never said it follows them directly.
It's a conceivable. It's not a mistake the character wouldn't make. If I
Yeah, yeah, no, like I agree. I just like to be very clear about what I have said.
Whether they brought it here or not doesn't terribly matter. It's here.
These other Gith. Have you ever communicated with one? Have you ever seen one communicate with them?
The only thing I've seen them do is fight their kin. As far as communication goes, didn't really fancy chancing it.
Have they taken any of the prisoners? The enemy, have they captured any and taken alive?
I think no, but am I right to think that, Ryan?
You've never seen that happen.
Right. If they have, they've done it without my seeing.
We have not been able to take any alive yet. We believed maybe the Runstead they did, but they never take us to them. Every time we meet the others, we must fight to death.
Well, that's unfortunately one of the reasons we just can't. We can't put any stock in trying to reach them or reason with. They just particularly seem interested. Maybe they are reachable. Shrugs.
I think with that as
No.
well, like as you're saying that and kind of shrugging, the tent opens up again, and you have Oridak like pop his head in, and you just see him very like haphazardly look at everybody, almost as if counting, and says, "Come," and then like heads out of the tent.
Can Fleabite make sure he gets the Jezebel back? Goes anywhere?
Don't know. Does Cognac give him it back?
I think Cognac could walk away after him and ring the bell.
Fleabite would just be like hanging onto his shell, trying to reach down his arm, trying to like grab at it.
Just gonna get up and follow.
Mm-hmm.
Probably shove some dried up, horrible looking mushrooms in my face while I'm at it.
Yeah, breakfast.
And Fleabite
Yeah, yeah.
also
They look
grabbed
good.
his
I'm
feet.
going to. Yes.
Yeah, I assumed you'd pick up your kettle. Yeah.
Is that a mushroom?
I not entirely familiar with the plants up north, but you can generally pick out the harmless ones.
I love mushrooms.
Offer them some.
um,
Free.
Please,
ah,
do they help with the headaches?
Not any of these, unfortunately.
Bury my face back in my hands.
Okay, so you're led up to the big tent again by Ordak. He seems to be standing at the top of the kind of hill up to it, the path up to it, very much encouraging you to all go inside. Do you not go inside?
Yeah, no, go inside.
Follow inside.
I protest not.
Good. And because you don't, Fleabite doesn't. And yeah, he's head in, and this is quite a very, like, you know, as close to luxury as this place can get, right? And there's like one other person in this room, and they're standing in front of what looks like some kind of weird, like, twisted metal throne. And by throne I mean almost like a kind of like almost a depressed kind of bench type idea, where there's not like a back to it or anything. It's just almost like a kind of, you know, cradle to sit in. And,
Roman chair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much like that. Made of just like a chunk of metal, it seems. And
Animal skin on it?
nope, metal, just bare. And this person that you witness is standing in the front of it, and Oridak comes in behind and like kind of closes up the tent a bit, and it says, "Sit." And this person you're staring at is very much just standing, almost imperiously. I'll show you a wee picture of who this is. So they look like that. Very quite decorative.
Mm.
Also quite monkish. Strong monkery vibe.
And
Oh, so now you get the monkish vibe.
It's a lace.
Oridak asks, obviously everybody to sit again, and he like kneels, and he says, "This is the Anarch of the Gith Zerai," again in his broken common, he says to everyone. And she kind of just stands there with like her arms kind of like folded behind her back, and she kind of just looks at everyone, and she says, in pretty good common, quite frankly, pretty well versed common, "You have information regarding a potential living red dragon. Speak of it now." And that's where we end the session.
Ooh. She
Yeah.
wants to eat the dragon as well.
Wonder if there's any significance to the colour.
It's the colour you mentioned, so.
Mm.
Yep.
I mean, it's wrong that I looked at her and I instantly went, Wonder if she's a relation of Voldemort. Who knows?
Or lack thereof, yeah. I mean, who knows, right? Who knows?
Who knows indeed.
Anyway, speaking of what's the session called this time? What's the session called? Please put your votes in now.
None jumped out at me. So
Depends what, like, if you had to think back in the session, what's the key point of it, I guess, and try and build a name around that.
deep thought or headaches.
It was-
Intense.
It was very intense, you're
It's
right.
very intense. Yeah.
I may have made this joke earlier. Yep.
I missed it. Sorry.
That's okay. You're welcome
I
to it.
buggered off at one point on account of you know how I have
Yes.
extremely dry eyes. Yeah, I had the issue with the contact, so I'm now bespectacled.
Intense headaches. I like that.
Mhm.
That's,
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Mhm.
Intense headaches.
Anything else, or are we? Because I think that's winning so far. Yep.
A reluctant cider for that.
Okay. Yep. Mhm.
You don't owe me a beer though, so I'll accept the cider.
I've got one in the post to you just now.
Oh, cheers. Do you know my address?
Love the toilet shop, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not dox anybody. Okay. So
Yeah, the toilet shop. That one toilet shop.
in existence, yeah. Okay, so intense headaches. There we are. There we go. We got that in the end. All good. Right, let's have a look at goals then. So, any goals need to be updated?
Not on my behalf.
Okay.
I feel like I've made some progress in getting them to listen to me. Don't know if I'd consider that completed, but
I mean,
I wouldn't say Cognac would say that.
Yeah.
yeah, I was going to say that's one of these. It really depends on the opinions of the rest of the group.
Still feels like I'm trying to get you to talk.
Mhm. Right, so Adair is still in progress. Cognac, you're still in progress.
I think I made progress on it. It's just whether or not narratively I've made enough.
I mean,
know
so
roughly what
so it says.
they are.
Well, I'm asking you the question. Learn of the doom Vanger warned us of. Do you think you know enough? Because obviously, if you do, the goal is no longer relevant, right? But if you don't, then the goal is still relevant. Does that make sense? So,
No.
okay. It doesn't make sense.
Certainly.
Or you're answering my.
don't know if it's complete. We
I don't
definitely
know.
have an idea.
I have an idea, but I don't think it's completed.
Okay, cool. Damien didn't really seem to make any progress actually on his goal this week for some reason.
Weird.
Yeah.
Negative progress.
Fleabite.
No, don't do that.
Fleabite, I think we know.
Yeah, I'm gaining experience.
You're getting good at making tea. And now you just have to get this special. Yeah. I am just getting rat catering in my head, and ratatouille is slowly becoming more of a thing. So.
It's going to start driving Cognac, isn't it?
Right. So is anyone changing? Like gonna start? I mean, he already does. Is anyone changing their goals to be something else?
Yeah.
Speak now.
No.
Never hold your peace. Okay.
Don't think
So if those are also relevant, good. Bonds. Anyone get any bonds that came up at all? Or anyone still in a crate?
Oh, actually, yeah.
Anything for anyone?
I think Cognac is skeptical. Thea is absent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was suddenly looking at that and I'm like, Thea doesn't matter anymore.
Wow.
Actually, that's not. She's canonically making herself useful, so
Mhm.
Banker would be pleased with.
Yeah. Yeah, like both her and Haranen seem to be helping out where they can. It was just probably taking the strain off of Vanger to actually have a rest. Which has probably been nice for him.
Fleabite is possibly.
I mean, valid. Yeah.
Look at me not
You've
using
been
my
looking at my
knowledge.
character sheet, haven't you?
Right, going once for Bonds. Going twice for Bonds.
Yeah, I'm good with what I've got.
I bid
Going-
$5.
Going 3 times.
Thrice.
4 bonds. Okay, bonds are completed. Good. So, let's just start with Adair then. Why not?
Tonight's been awesome. Yeah. I do apologize for the very late start. That was my fault.
It was a group effort, right? It wasn't just you. Cough,
Yeah.
cough, flea bite.
Yeah, but he can't respond, so.
Stop being a
No.
flea bite apologist.
It's okay. He's got his shortcomings, but we're there for him.
No, tonight has been great. Got to finally learn some names and the hierarchy and stuff of the chuds. Might actually need to stop calling them the chuds, but they haven't told us to stop them, so that's good.
I mean,
We'll soon
they,
be chuddies together.
they may or may not think that is a word used to describe them by, obviously, you. So, if you use it
Just
like
don't to
not-
the queen.
not the anarch, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But no, I'm glad we finally got to know the main Gith guy who's helped us out in the past. Name. He's the spiritual leader-ish. We've
Yeah.
learned there's a hierarchy kind of governing power among the Gith. There's two forces. Yeah, so tonight was quite knowledgeable for that,
Like-
which is
A better way of putting it, right? I think it's maybe a better way of maybe just pointing this out now. Imagine the Gith Zerai have two types of leadership, and they would be referred to as like the strong hand and the soft hand, right? Is maybe the best way to put that across. It's maybe a better
The
way
one
of
that
conveying it.
strokes your face and the one that punches your face.
so the Surrey are the ones that stroke your face, and the others are the
No.
ones that punch your face.
No, I mean literally the difference between Ordak and the Anarch within the Zerai. Yeah. So within the Gith Zerai, you've got the strong hand, and then you have the soft hand. Is the best way to convey that, but that seems to have just confused things. So
His hand was not soft; it was dry and coarse.
yeah. And you've also
Stand
watched
sure.
him fucking temporarily punch somebody. So
This is true.
what does the hard hand mean? Right?
That's going to dry your hand out. I mean,
So anyway, Adair.
really good game. Sorry again for the late start. That was my fault plus someone else, but mainly mine. But no, I'm glad we were able to stick to schedule, somewhat. And no, I had a really good time. Thank you.
Good. Fleabite.
I apologize for my also insignificant part. I always just like the characters or the player characters chatting to themselves and extended and just that sort of almost the sort of sitcom thing where we're just like talking to each other.
While Fleabite makes everyday tea.
It's always fun to there.
So you enjoyed Adair having a migraine. Shocking,
yeah.
man.
Who would have guessed?
It is always I always really enjoy more than using the Jezebel.
I mean that is a token of Fleabite's superiority over the librarian. So I did roll to see she'd notice, and she didn't. So there's probably a poster of Fleabite in Runestad now.
It's probably a poster of all of us.
It just says "don't."
I mean,
Future rulers. That's what it says.
I like that you think that's going to happen.
Adair truly believes this is going to happen. Gregor does as well.
Fleabite.
I also just like picking up random things from characters. Glad that I've got the water skin.
Yeah, the ritual is progressing well.
For now.
Oh dear, that's good.
So yeah, that's fun.
No problem. And Vanguard.
So
Hello. It's alright. How are you?
I'm not bad.
Good. Glad.
Nice wee session there.
It's alright, wasn't it?
To do a bit more interacting, and sort of more free form pieces.
Like,
Um,
from a mechanical point of view, for me as a GM, having you being the newest to join and kind of getting a session with the core group minus the second newest person to join was probably quite good.
yeah, maybe not the worst thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was interesting to get to sort of start to work out the dynamics between these characters. It's actually been quite interesting for me playing Vanguard because I'm kind of playing against type in a lot of ways,
Mm-hmm.
and he's quite laconic and mellow. He talks when he's spoken to mainly,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't talk at great length. He doesn't tend to be overly verbose. He's not me essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a bit having played characters who tend to be talkative in the extreme. Yeah, it's a bit of a adjustment. And he's also kind of this. He's not like a loose or anything, but yeah, like there's the element of him being not exactly as he doesn't sort of go and actively push other characters so much. He kind of just wanders through life. That's different. So yeah, it's been a fun little thing where I got to play a character who's very different than what I previously played, interacting with some really interesting new characters,
Mhm.
some of whom are very weird and quite outside what I'd previously played with as well. So for
Don't worry.
as a player, it's been
You,
yeah.
you'll get used to Cognac. It's fine.
Well, actually, here's the thing. Cognac is actually a lot more skeptical than most people's and most characters. Like a lot of people that I've RP'd with, whether it's them or their characters, there's been and I've not got that much history. Ryan, tell you, he's RP'd almost every session I've ever been in. He's ran almost every. There's a lot of stuff that's just taken on trust,
Mhm.
be it in the world or between the characters, and he doesn't seem to quite have that. He does seem to be a little more skeptical. I think that's
I think that's just a bad habit of me seeping in.
I don't think it's a bad habit at all.
Yeah, I think it's a bad habit. I think it's actually a surprisingly refreshing take on
It
a
is.
like a journey through an RP story where it's like, why are we doing this, and who are those people, and do we trust those people, and why is nobody questioning this?
And I'm playing a character who's relatively non-questioning, so it's an interesting little interaction. Obviously, Fleabite is like seriously odd and like just
Quiet.
not right. So that's going on. And Adair is a very unusual guy as well. He's also something about him is very suspicious.
What?
Oh, he definitely has like there's just something odd. And I can't quite put my finger on
It's
either as a
like
character.
necromancy's a sin.
I'm not into that. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right. You can necromance if you want to. Okay, you can leave your friends behind.
I love the undead. But yeah, he's definitely a weird character who's just he's quirky. It's quirky, and I'm not quite sure what his deal is yet. Neither is Vanger, so it will be interesting watching Vanger sort of come to grips with them all. And of course, there's Damien slash
Shalorag, yes.
yeah, sure, Shalrag. That guy seems also kind of definitely very rangery, like good.
The hood, the mysteriousness,
Background. He's just
the
like
two names.
Yeah, I imagine him being the one that's sitting at like this. This will make more sense to some people here than others, but I imagine him being the one sat in the sat sharpening his knives or, you know, like, he definitely gives that sort of vibe, and it'll be interesting too. Obviously, so yeah, that was fun. It was fun. It was a new little adventure for me, and see.
Yeah. And last but not least, Cognac.
Hello.
Hello.
I had fun.
Good.
I find it a little difficult with less people. More time where you have to talk yourself.
So you find that more difficult, you said?
Yeah.
Mm.
But I still enjoyed it, and I felt like I gained some more RP experience.
Good.
Being put a bit under pressure on the spot.
Mm.
Which I need to work on, so... Well, I want to work on. And that was good. And I enjoyed learning a lot today about the lore, actually progressing the lore space.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I want to find out what is so kinky about a red dragon to these fellows.
Mm.
Wait, what did you say there? So
Nothing.
He very much wants to find out what's so hinky about a red.
Hinky.
Yeah,
Hinky.
about a red
Right.
dragon.
As long as it didn't start with K, we're good.
So
I thought he said the other words, and I was like,
yeah.
what?
Nah, we're PG-13 here.
Yeah, we're coasting the TOS, border here.
I wasn't sure if it's a Torko thing, turtles and dragons.
The FCC don't want me to be me. Blah 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 blah.
Something
I
monetizing.
recognize the M&Ms.
Yes. And the 8 milli. Yep, I see it. Anything else you want to add, Cognac?
I'm looking forward to next week.
Good.
But I really need to sleep, so I'm going to shoot.
Yeah.
Godspeed you, Black Emperor.
I was going to say, you're the only one that's still talking, so yeah. You're the one holding us all here, Cognac. Anyway.
Well, now that I've got you here today.
FCC won't let me be, or let me be me, so let me see.
No. So anyway, guys, that was fun.
This
then,
looks like
if that's the case.
for me.
This is the shit I have to deal with, guys. So I'm looking for new players for my Wednesday game. So if anyone wants to join a Wednesday D&D game to replace these fuckers, let me know. But guys, say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Twitch. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye.
Adios. Farewell.